Coming up on the British TV watch list.
Those are the weakest scores in the trilogy by a wide margin.
From cosy mysteries to intense police procedurals, we talk about the characters, performances, series, and episodes from your favourite British TV shows.
Hey, welcome back to the British TV watch list. It's Michael T. Millie Bobby Brown looks right at you and talks to your face. She's done that in 3 movies now. In Enola Holmes 3, she does it so often it stops feeling like a clever trick. It starts feeling like a nervous habit she can't shake. It's called Breaking the Fourth Wall. It's the most talked about stylistic choice in this entire franchise. And by the time the 3rd film comes around, I think the wall is completely broken. Quick reset for anyone new to the show. The fourth wall is the invisible barrier between the actors and the audience. When a character looks into the camera and speaks directly to you, that wall comes down. It's a real technique with a real pedigree. Shakespeare used asides. Ferris Bueller talked to us through an entire movie. Frank Underwood did it in House of Cards to let us in on every scheme. Deadpool turned it into a whole personality. And Enola Holmes talks to us to walk through her deductions, her feelings, and her jokes. Here's the detail that explains the whole thing. The first Enola Holmes was directed by Harry Bradbeer. He also directed almost every episode of Fleabag. That's the show that made direct address narration a defining piece of modern British comedy. Phoebe Waller-Bridge would glance at the camera mid-scene. That glance told you more than a page of dialogue could. Bradbeer brought that exact toolkit to Enola. In the first film, it worked the same way. A glance, a raised eyebrow, a quick aside before she disappeared back into the story. By Enola Holmes 2, the technique started to expand. She talked to us more. She explained more. Some viewers loved it. Reddit threads from that era are full of people saying the direct address made the mystery feel alive. Other viewers pushed back hard. One fan summed it up well. The camera talk ruined it for them. It works fine on the page, they said, but rarely survives the jump to film. It helps to understand why this technique thrives in comedy and struggles in mystery. Fleabag used direct address as a confession booth. The joke landed, then the camera cut away before the moment could curdle. Deadpool uses it as a constant commentary because the whole premise is a superhero movie that knows it's a superhero movie. Ferris Bueller used it the same way, a wink between scenes, never during the actual plot. A mystery needs tension to build without interruption. Every time a detective story stops to explain itself out loud, that tension drains a little. Of course, the remedy to tension is a good night's sleep, right? Cures all. All the negative goes away, and when you're tucked in and comfortable, it's gorgeous. What better way to help you than a set of light, breezy pajamas from CozyEarth.com. One of the best sellers is their stretch knit pajama sleep set for women. You can get it with pants or shorts, super soft, very breathable, and he is going to love it on you as well. Find it at CozyEarth.com. Use our promo code and get an extra discount of up to 30% off. It's the best deal available. You help support our podcast, and we thank you very much for that. We get a small commission. Use the promo code BTVW1, BTVW1 at CozyEarth.com. Now we get to Enola Holmes 3. Philip Barantini takes over the director's chair. Bradbeer's gone. But Breaking the Fourth Wall stayed, and it grew. Critics are split on it, but plenty are losing patience. Pajiba calls the constant breaks annoying, lumped in with a full script of clunky exposition. One Rotten Tomatoes critic said it best. Enola breaks the fourth wall so often the house falls down. Punch-drunk critic says Brown makes it look easy, but admits the technique gets, quote, extremely aggravating when done too often. Even RogerEbert.com, which mostly enjoyed the film, gives fair warning, quote, if you're not into constant camera talk, watch something else. Here's my take, for what it's worth, plain and simple. A little bit is a spice. With Enola Holmes, it's the entire entree. In the first film, Enola talks to us because she's isolated, cut off from her mother, cut off from society. We were the only ones she could trust, and that gave the technique a reason to exist. By the third film, she talks to us constantly, mid-chase, mid-argument, mid-everything. It stops being a window into her mind. It becomes an obtrusive narrator popping up exactly when the story needs to breathe on its own. Deadpool gets away with constant camera talk because the whole movie is built as a joke around movies. Enola Holmes isn't that kind of film. It's trying to tell a real mystery. Every time Enola Holmes turns and winks at us, the mystery loses a little steam. Now let's talk about the other thing peppered through all three movies. The feminist message. I'm all for it when women succeed on screen or anywhere in life. Enola, running her own detective agency, outthinking grown men twice her age, that's a good story. It deserves to be told, and it's got more history behind it than most people assume. Real female private detectives were working in Britain by the 1880s. 1880s. Agencies like Slater's Women Detectives and Moser's Ladies Detective Agency were among them. However, Enola running her own solo practice as a teenager? That's a stretch. Most of these women were adults and most worked inside a larger firm. But the broad idea, women doing this job for real money, that holds up. Eudora Holmes lives entirely on her own terms. Moriarty is built as a woman with real motive instead of a cartoon villain. None of that bothers me one bit. What bothers me is when the film stops trusting the story to make that point. Instead, they lecture. There's a difference between a woman succeeding at her craft and a movie stopping to remind you of it. Enola Holmes 3 leans into colonial guilt and gender politics with dialogue. Forbes jokes that the franchise beats you over the head with lines like, equality good, colonialism bad. I don't need the chip on the shoulder announced every 10 minutes. Show me the competence. Let the achievement speak. The moment the film pauses to underline its own righteousness, it stops trusting its lead actress to carry the point. And Millie Bobby Brown has more than proven that she can carry it. And to be honest, weaving an agenda into the thread of the storyline, huge turnoff for me. Hey, speaking of threads, maybe it's time for some new stuff for you. You're going to look great in a new polo shirt from Pins and Aces. Premier apparel for athletes as well as mom and dad bods, like maybe you and me. Comfy all day. They're moisture-wicking, wrinkle-resistant, so you can go anywhere with it. It's a blend of polyester and spandex. Check it out on this website. I'm looking at it right now. There's a men's polo called, get this, Water Hazard from Pins and Aces. It's bold, ocean blue in color. It's beautiful, really nice. You can find it at pinsandaces.com. If you use our promo code, you get an extra discount of up to 30%. It's the best deal available on the website. And you help support our podcast because we get a small commission. Our promo code is BTVW1. BTVW1. Use it at pinsandaces.com. Thanks. All right, let's get back and get everyone oriented. The franchise follows Enola Holmes, the much younger sister of Sherlock Holmes. It's based on Nancy Springer's book series. Millie Bobby Brown plays Enola, and she also produces the films now. How about that? Henry Cavill plays Sherlock, a gentler, warmer version of the detective than you're used to seeing. Henry Cavill, by the way, and in my humble opinion, should be the next James Bond, but we'll save that for later. Helena Bonham Carter plays their mother, Eudora, fiercely independent and always a step ahead. Louis Partridge plays Lord Tewkesbury, Enola's love interest since the first film. He grows from a sheltered aristocrat into somebody willing to fight for real change. Himesh Patel joined as Dr. Watson at the end of the second film. Here he becomes a genuine partner to Enola, not Sherlock's usual sidekick. Sharon Duncan Brewster plays Moriarty, reimagined as a woman with a real grievance instead of a cartoon villain. One of the franchise's smarter choices. Good character. The first film from 2020 introduced Enola as a teenager searching for her missing mother while dodging her overbearing brothers. The second film from 2022 found her running her own detective agency. That case chased a missing persons mystery tied to a poison match factory and high society corruption. Enola Holmes 3 moves the whole cast to Malta, sun and all, a real change of scenery from foggy London. Enola is preparing to marry Tewkesbury when Sherlock gets kidnapped. That sets off a case tangled up in stolen treasure and buried colonial history. Old enemies are pulling strings behind the scenes. Along the way, Enola wrestles with whether marriage means giving up the freedom she fought for. I'm not going to spoil where it lands, but the ending fits everything this franchise has been building toward. As for how it's doing, the numbers tell an interesting story. The first two films were considered certified fresh, and critics loved them. This third one landed around 68 to 70% with critics, even lower with audiences. Those are the weakest scores in the trilogy by a wide margin. And yet it's still open as the most watched title on Netflix the week it dropped. More than 20 million views in 5 days. A slower start than the second film's pace, but nowhere close to a flop. Netflix clearly still sees a hit here, even if the reviews cooled off. The viewer IMDb score right now, as I speak, is 5.7. A fourth film isn't officially confirmed yet. Millie Bobby Brown has said flat out she's ready to come back whenever Netflix calls. She's even joked about wanting to play Enola as a mother someday. Louis Partridge and Himesh Patel have both said the same. Nancy Springer's book series has 10 novels total, so there's plenty of material left to adapt. The movies have already strayed pretty far from the source books anyway, it's what I hear. Netflix usually takes several weeks of streaming data before making that call anyway. Industry watchers figure a decision could land sometime around August. If it happens, don't expect a new film before 2028 or even 2029, given how long these productions take. For now, we're all just waiting along with Enola. That's Enola Holmes 3 for you. A very likable lead, talented cast, a technique that's overstayed its welcome, and a message that would land better with a lighter touch. Okay, before I go, I want to say hello to our listeners in Rancho Santa Margarita, California, USA, Tyler, Texas, and Craigavon, Northern Ireland. Hope I pronounced that correctly. I am completely amazed at the response of cities I see around the world, wherever you're listening. Thank you very much for tuning in and downloading the British TV watch list. If you want to support our podcast, check out our Patreon site. Your support helps me to create and produce the show week after week. You can also support us by shopping at CozyEarth.com and PinsAndAces.com. Use our promo code BTVW1 and you can get as much as a 30% discount when you check out. That's all for now. Thanks for listening to the British TV Watch List. Till next time, cheers!
The British TV Watch List is written and produced by Michael T. in Honolulu, Hawaii. Remember to subscribe, like, and share. All rights reserved. Copyright 2026. Michael T. Media.